If you ask me, Dr. Hampton, you call yourself the metabolic health doc. What's your actual blueprint for living longer? Well, this would be the video I'd make. Because longevity is not a magic berry from Amazon. It's boring, repeatable physiology. And my nest and rope framework is literally a longevity framework disguised as lifestyle. So let's walk through it like I'm in clinic with you, like right here. First, N is nutrition. If you want to age well, you have to protect muscle. Sarcopenia is one of the fastest ways to lose independence and die sooner. Muscle is your glucose sink, your metabolic engine, and your get off the floor at 85 insurance policy. To hang on to it, you need enough protein. Most adults do better in the 0.8 to 1.2 gram of protein per pound of ideal body weight range, not per pound of current weight, especially after 40 when anabolic resistance kicks in. Why? Because protein drives muscle protein synthesis, keeps IGF-1 in a Goldilocks zone, and helps maintain bone. In Levine's 2014 Cell Metabolism paper, they showed the pattern of protein matters with age. Older adults actually did better, not worse, with adequate protein. Here's the root cause piece. If you undereat protein and overeat ultra-processed carbs late at night, you keep insulin high, you store visceral fat, you inflame the liver, and you shrink your longevity runway. So I tell patients, front load your protein and stop eating 3 hours before bed. Late eating equals higher nocturnal glucose and worse sleep, which equals higher mortality in the sleep studies. E is exercise. Translation? Move more than you're moving now. Walking 7,000 to 8,000 steps most days, plus 2 sessions of resistance training a week is a fantastic longevity stack. A 2022 dose-response meta-analysis showed about 60 minutes of resistance training per week was associated with roughly 27% lower all-cause mortality. That's medicine without a copay. Why does it work? Mechanistically, lifting improves insulin sensitivity, increases GLUT4 transporters in muscle, raises myokines that are anti-inflammatory, and preserves motor neurons as we age. Newer 2025 data is showing resistance work even slows neural decline in older adults. So when I say lift, I'm not trying to make you look good on Instagram. I'm trying to make your mitochondria live long enough to see your grandkids graduate. S is sleep. The boring 7 to 9 hours is actually the sexy part of longevity. Big recent cohorts, over 46,000 people, showed people whose sleep kept drifting away from 7 to 8 hours raised mortality by almost 30%. That's huge. And another 2025 analysis showed that even if you hit 7 to 8 hours, chaotic bedtimes still raise heart attack and stroke risk by 26%. So fix your timing. Mechanism time. Deep sleep clears beta amyloid, which is high in some types of dementia, consolidates memories, drops nighttime blood pressure, and, this is my favorite, resensitizes your insulin receptors for the next day. So make the room cold and dark. Park the phone. Stop caffeine late. And don't chug water right before bed because I don't want you peeing all night. You know I always say that. T is thoughts that serve you. This one gets ignored in longevity talks, but the data is solid. A meta-analysis of positive psychological well-being found about 18% reduction in mortality for people who had more optimism, purpose, and joy, even after adjusting for bad stuff. Why? Chronic negative thinking leads to chronic stress, leads to high allostatic load, leads to higher cortisol, higher blood pressure, more belly fat, more atherosclerosis. 2024 through 25 studies on allostatic load are showing that every point higher pushes cardiovascular events and even cancer mortality up. So when I tell you to protect your thinking, it's not motivational speaker fluff, it's plaque biology. Now let's cross the bridge to rope. R is relationships. I am not trying to start a single versus married war on YouTube, but the science says quality relationships prolong life. Holt Lundsted's famous meta-analysis showed people with strong social connections had about a 50% higher chance of still being alive. Same order of magnitude as smoking 15 cigarettes a day in the wrong direction. Married people often live longer because marriage can be a built-in social support and purpose structure. But you can get the same benefit from deep friendships. faith communities, or even being the grandma everybody calls. The mechanism is reduction of stress hormone, better immune surveillance, and people nagging you in love to exercise more. O is organisms. You want to keep infections down, keep inflammation down. A quiet longevity lever is simply getting sick less often, because every infection spikes inflammation and stresses your immune and metabolic systems. Protect your entry points and terrain. Keep excellent oral hygiene. Periodontal disease tracks with higher cardiovascular and all-cause mortality. Lock in real sleep. Sleeping less than 7 hours before viral exposure markedly increases your odds of catching a cold. And keep your glucose steady. Hyperglycemia impairs innate immunity and raises infection risk, especially in older adults with type 2 diabetes. And you want to add basic food safety habits at home. Clean, separate, cook, chill. Fewer infections lead to less chronic inflammation, leads to more health span. P is pollutants. This is the sneaky killer. We used to think, eat organic and I'm fine. But the 2017 New Journal of Medicine Medicare study and follow-up showed that even below current air quality standards, PM 2.5 still shaved life off older adults. New 2024 through 25 work links air pollution to dementia. Literally, particles get into the brain and spark inflammation. So if you live near a factory or busy highway, get an air purifier. Seal your home. And my favorite doctor answer: stop voluntarily inhaling pollutants like cigarette smoke and ultra-processed food. Yes, I called ultra-processed food a pollutant, because when your food is engineered to spike dopamine, insulin, and inflammation, it accelerates every aging pathway I see in clinic. E is emotions and life experiences. This is where trauma lives. So it kind of covers the T in the nest as well. The A studies, over 9,000 adults, showed a straight line. The more adverse experiences in childhood, the higher the risk of heart disease, cancer, lung disease, and early death. Why? Because unhealed trauma keeps your stress on, raises allostatic load, and pushes you toward coping behaviors. Alcohol, sugar, smoking, that aged you faster. And when I tell a patient your blood sugar won't heal until your nervous system feels safe, I can point right to Felidi's work and the 2009 premature mortality paper. Longevity requires emotional hygiene, therapy, prayer, community, forgiveness, and sometimes medication. A calmer nervous system lets your immune system, hormones, and mitochondria do repair work. Let me tie it together mechanistically. Every spoke of the nest and rope is trying to do the same three things: lower chronic inflammation, improve insulin sensitivity, and reduce wear and tear on your neuroendocrine system. When you eat protein first and avoid late night carbs, insulin goes down. When you walk and lift, GLUT4 goes up. When you sleep 7 to 9 hours, cortisol and blood pressure normalize. When you stay connected to people, your vagus nerve is happier. When you avoid pollutants and infections, your immune system is not in firefighter mode. When you process emotions and trauma, you lower allostatic load, lower inflammation, plus better metabolic flexibility, which equals more health span. Family. You don't have to chase every biohack that shows up on your feed. You master nutrition, exercise, sleep, thinking, trauma recovery, relationships, organisms, pollutants, emotions, and have life experiences that serve you. If you do that, you're already hitting 80 to 90% of known longevity levers. You will not do it perfectly, neither do I, but every day you choose steak over sugar, a walk over the couch, 10:30 p.m. over midnight, forgiving over bitterness, you're telling your biology, I plan to be here a while. I really hope this helped, and if it did, tell me in the comments which part of the nest and rope you need to work on the most, and where you're watching from. Subscribe here, maybe check out this next video, and let's do everything within our power to protect our nest.